At 3:14 in the morning, a woman called 911 from a highway rest stop. She was not screaming. She sounded calm, the way people sound when they have not yet decided to be afraid. She told the dispatcher she had pulled over to sleep, that she had woken up, and that something about the parking lot was wrong. Every other car in the lot, she said, had its headlights on and its engine running, and not one of them had a person inside. The dispatcher kept her talking for 4 minutes. Then the call dropped. When a state trooper reached the rest stop 19 minutes later, he found her car, unlocked, her phone on the seat, still connected to a call that no longer had anyone on the other end. He found the other cars, too, exactly as she had described them. He did not find a single person, including her. This recording is the last contact anyone had with Dana Reyes. This is the last thing we have. There is nothing after it. To understand the call, you have to understand the place. The rest stop sits at mile 109 on Route 9, a long, empty stretch between two small towns, the kind of road people drive at night to save time. There is a low brick building with restrooms and vending machines, a parking lot, a few picnic tables, and then nothing for 40 miles in either direction. At 3 in the morning, it is one of the loneliest places a person can legally stop a car. Dana Reyes was driving home alone after visiting family. She had texted a friend just before midnight to say she was tired and might pull over to nap rather than push through. That text matters, because it tells us she stopped on purpose and that she was alone, and that no one was expecting to hear from her again until morning. When she arrived by her own account on the call, the lot was normal. A few cars, dark and quiet, the way cars look when people are sleeping in them. She reclined her seat. She fell asleep. And at some point in the next 2 hours, the lot changed. We have the call, so we do not have to guess what she saw. She woke up, she said, because of the light. The lot was brighter than it had been. When she sat up, she realized why. Every car around her had its headlights on. She counted them out loud for the dispatcher. 9 cars, not including hers. Everyone with its lights on. Everyone, she said, with the engine running, because she could hear them. A low sound all around her in the dark, and as she looked from car to car, she told the dispatcher the same thing about each one. There is nobody in it. The dispatcher asked the reasonable questions. Could the people be in the restroom? Could they be at the picnic tables? Dana said the restroom building was dark and locked, which it should not have been. She said she could see the picnic area and it was empty. She said, and this is on the recording, it's like everybody just got out at the same time and walked away and left everything on. Then her voice changed. Not panic. Something quieter. She told the dispatcher she did not want to get out of her car. The dispatcher agreed, told her to keep the doors locked, told her a unit was on the way. For about a minute, Dana just described what she was seeing. The lights, the empty seats, the steam from the exhausts in the cold air. And then she said one last thing. She said one of them just turned its lights off, and the call dropped. The trooper arrived 19 minutes after the call connected. What he found is documented, and it is strange in a very specific way. Dana's car was there, unlocked, her phone on the passenger seat, the 911 call still technically open but silent. Her keys were in the ignition. Her bag, her shoes, and her glasses were still in the car. Wherever she went without them. The other cars were there too. Not 9. 7. 7 vehicles parked at odd angles, and here's the part that has never been explained cleanly. Some of them did have their engines running, and their lights on, when the trooper arrived, almost a third of an hour later. A car will not idle forever, but more than one of them was still going. The cars were registered to 7 different people from towns all over the region. No connection between them that anyone could find, and none of those 7 people were ever located at the scene. Some were reported missing. A few days later turned up at home, with stories that did not match, or no memory of the rest stop at all. The records on this are contradictory and incomplete, which is part of why the case stays open. So what happens to 10 people at a rest stop in the middle of the night? Take the explanations one at a time. A gas leak, or carbon monoxide. The idea that something in the air made people confused, made them get out and wander into the dark. It is the most comforting theory, because it is accidental. But it does not fit. Carbon monoxide makes people pass out where they sit. It does not make 7 strangers in 7 separate cars calmly exit, leave everything running, and vanish in the same window of time. And Dana, on the call, was lucid to the last second. A staged abduction. Human trafficking crews are known to work lonely stretches of highway. A coordinated group could, in theory, take people from a rest stop. But they do not leave the cars running and the lights on. That is the opposite of what someone trying to avoid attention would do. The scene was not hidden. It was lit up like a display. A hoax. Maybe Dana staged it or imagined it, but the other cars were real. The running engines were real. The missing registrations were real, and the trooper documented all of it. Whatever happened, it was not only in her head. Which leaves the explanation investigators kept circling back to, the one that is not satisfying, because it is just a smaller mystery. That the headlights and the running engines were a lure. That something at that rest stop, a person or a group, learned that an empty car with its lights on and its engine running, at 3 a.m. on an empty road, will make a tired driver curious, will make them sit up, will make them, eventually, get out to look. And that whoever said it has done it before and chose a place 40 miles from the nearest help on purpose. We do not know what made Dana Reyes get out of her car. On the recording, she said she did not want to. The call dropped before we hear her decide. Maybe the dropped call is the moment she opened the door. Maybe it is the moment someone opened it for her. The rest stop at mile 109 is still there. The records list 7 recovered vehicles, an unknown number of missing persons, and 1 woman whose last words on this earth, as far as anyone can prove, were, one of them just turned its lights off. Her car was returned to her family. Her phone is in an evidence box, and the case, like every case on this channel, is still open. If you have ever pulled over to sleep on an empty road, you already understand why this one stays with people. If a quiet, plausible kind of dread is what you came for, subscribe. There is a new case every week, and they do not get easier. This time, the last record we had was a phone call. Next time, it is a tape. An overnight radio host, alone in a small-town studio, takes song requests from listeners he cannot see. We have the last 40 minutes of his broadcast, and somewhere in those 40 minutes, you can hear the exact moment he realizes that every song being requested is describing his own night, in order, before it happens.